guys, welcome to Gen Next Door Podcast. I'm Jennifer Otero. I started this podcast to highlight the stories of local business owners, entrepreneurs, and creatives on how they started their businesses, advice they offer, and what they are doing to make a difference in the community. This is a safe space for like-minded people who want to be inspired and get motivated to live their dreams, all while giving back no matter how small. I'm right there with you, so let's do this. Hi, welcome to another episode. Today I'm talking with tree whisperer Ernest Lerma, CEO of Waffle Forest, the world's first eco-friendly carbon-reducing smart forest. He and his team are rehabilitating land in South Phoenix and reducing carbon emissions through a process of reforestation and geoengineering. He's also a master in web development and digital marketing. I've never heard about this before, so I'm very excited to learn more about Waffle Forest. How are you?
Hey, how are you doing?
Good. So to get things started, can you summarize what Waffle Forest is?
So Waffle Forest pretty much is we're trying to turn an old landfill in Phoenix into a forest because that landfill is really toxic and, people can't live there. Forests will really help that piece of land. We're planting some trees. We would like to plant 10,000 trees in that 260 acre.
Wow.
So we are a tech forest. We monitor the trees with this tree talk technology, and we're able to monitor everything over the computer. So we are the first tech forest out there, and we'll be able to monitor the whole forest by our computer and understand the data and the health of the forest. So that pretty much summarizes what we do. And by adding the tech forest, we're able to reduce carbon emissions at a high rate with our technology.
That's amazing. So let's first talk about a little bit more about you. Tell me about yourself. How did you grow up? Where were you raised? And what were you doing before Waffle Forest?
So I'm born and raised South Phoenix. I'm South Phoenix native. I grew up, went to college, played a little bit of football, tore my knee, got into a little bit of trouble. And from there, kind of became an entrepreneur. And as an entrepreneur, I started a couple of businesses. It's really just got me to be who I am today. So since then, I learned how to build websites, applications, software. I worked with a lot of companies. I am a marketer. I've been doing this for about 7 years. I love technology. I love learning. It's amazing. And, my birthday, I decided to start Waffle Forest. I want to do something for my community, started researching, and, that's how we started Waffle Forest. And that's a little about myself.
Okay. When you were younger, did you always think about marketing, or what did you have another dream?
When I was younger, I always wanted to be rich. I grew up in South Phoenix.
Don't we all?
So I think I would look at people with business suits and stuff, and I always wanted to be like a business person or making money. I started reading business books in the beginning to become an entrepreneur, but I think after that, I created a passion for doing this and, creating a business, starting something from scratch and building it.
Yeah. I know that you started Squabble Interactive. Can you tell me a little bit about that and how you started that?
So Squabble is my marketing company. I really didn't understand how to market at the time. I just wanted to become a business owner. And I took this really cool course online. And that was just me learning a lot. And I started, from there, I started doing like the golf channel. I got some really big jobs, but I was probably building everybody free websites for a long time. I learned how to build websites like in under an hour for small businesses. I come in and really just do that. So Squabble was like more of like, it's my marketing company. What I kind of hopped around the last couple of years, find different niches. But as I got better, I started getting bigger clients. And, so that's what I'm a marketer pretty much.
I read somewhere that you were also teaching people about credit because you had bad credit and then you learned yourself.
So
how did that go?
So a little bit, like I said, I'm from South Phoenix, and I wasn't really learned, as a business owner, you want to start a business, but you eventually find out that building a business, I was like building a machine, it doesn't matter what your product or service is, you got to learn all these little things. And one of them was, credit. I wanted to start a marketing, and I got some clients and I had a really crappy little computer. So I'm like, hey, let me go get a better computer. So I went to Best Buy. And they ran my credit and like, hey, your credit isn't good enough. And I had a business LLC. I'm like, what do you mean? So I went and read a little about credit, and mine was horrible. Growing up in South Phoenix, people like myself, a lot of Hispanic and African-American children, your parents struggle. Sometimes they use your Social Security to get electric, or, to help you survive. So by the time you're 25, 30 years old, you have some bad credit, and there are different traits of, wealthy people or successful people. They understand credit. So, they always make sure their children have, trade lines. They add their children to their credit cards. So their children have the good credit. It really bothered me because as an entrepreneur, I wanted to fix my credit. So I learned the credit law. And then from there, like I said, I'm a really good marketer. So I was telling everybody, hey, if you want to start your business, you got to have a good credit. And then people started asking me to do their credit. One day I woke up with like 20, 30, 40 people. I started a credit card company. It was getting big and I was more passionate about marketing. So, I started looking into business credit, how, you can use credit as an entrepreneur. So I decided to create like a course and teach people how to fix their own credit, because if you understand credit, it'll help you succeed in life. The difference between two people, they work at the same job, they make the same amount of money, but one drives, 2022, Chevy Impala, and the other person drives a, old beat up car, and they both pay the same amount of money. I think it's somebody's credit. So it's really important as an entrepreneur. And,
or just even a person in general in this country.
Yeah.
Like I also grew up, so I'm also Hispanic, and like my parents were immigrants, so they didn't know anything about credit or how like this capitalistic society works. So I didn't really get to learn all that stuff from them. So you just have to, as like a first generation person, you just have to figure it out on your own. But that's good that you taught a lot of other people that, because it's very important to know, especially if you want to like go into business. Okay, so now let's focus on Waffle Forest. What is your mission for Waffle Forest? Like, what do you want to happen with that?
Well, Waffle Forest, there's a mission, but I think what really propels me for this mission, I've always want to be this big entrepreneur and do something great so I can go back and show people that, I always had this chip on my shoulder. I went to school, went to college, got in trouble. And so that's why I built my business as a marketer. Waffle Forest, growing up in South Phoenix, it's like if you drive by the place, it's like on 19th Avenue. It's this big landfill, and you go over and you can smell like the nasty concrete company, and it's like you're coming to South Phoenix, and so I wanted to give back to it. So that's how Waffle Forest, my mission started, to help heal, South Phoenix. But as we started growing the Waffle Forest, our mission is now to come back and heal dilapidated landfills like that. And, in South Phoenix alone, just that landfill, I think anybody who lives like in a 12-mile radius of that place, is more susceptible to certain diseases. And South Phoenix was kind of, in the 1940s, was the only place for African Americans and colored people to live. So the way it was created, it wasn't really built up. There's not a lot of like urban development there. It's really low, and that's where all the landfills are at, all the big toxic places. So there's a lot of places like that in America. And so Waffle Forest, we want to come and heal those places by planting a forest. But when we plant this forest, we're going to be cleaning the oxygen in the city, but we're also going to be beautifying the city and healing places like this, because typically those places are where the minorities live, the low income, poverty, and there's a lot of statistics out there that show that if you come and fix up a nice area, people start to respect it. There's not a lot of tagging on the walls because that's something beautiful in their city, and that this is my city, my community, and that's why I'm very passionate about it. But at the same time, Waffle Forest, our movement, our mission is to come transform places like that. So we're pretty much like planting a forest, urban development, and help healing these little communities. And by doing that, you're going to raise the property value of the area. It's going to be something. It's going to help. It's going to help in so many different ways. And also for like development of children, like we kind of did a lot of research, but it really helps children growing up when they're able to see a lot of vegetation, forests, we're able to see or introduced to stuff like that. So it really helps your brain develop different. And I think by doing that, we can create a new culture here in Phoenix. I know one day people can say, hey, we went to Waffle Forest when I was growing up, and we would have our birthdays here and all that. And, that's what we want to do. We want to build more like a Central Park. It's 800 acres in New York. So we're trying to do something similar with that. Like, so our own version of
I love Central Park.
Pretty much we're turning this wasteland, 200 acres downtown, into a beautiful forest, somewhere safe, somewhere beautiful. We can, at the end of the day, we're going to be removing carbon emissions from the air, and we're going to add direct air capture.
What's crazy to me is, like, you say that you want to be rich and like be those entrepreneurs that are like very successful, but I mean, you could do that with anything else, but you're actually like doing something to solve a problem and help the community. So like not many entrepreneurs can do that or want to do
Yeah.
that, but you're doing that.
And it's not even being rich. I think the biggest thing is like I put all my money into this
Or
and I stopped.
wealthy. Because I know like
Yeah.
growing up, that was a big struggle for us. We weren't like poor, but we weren't even middle
Yeah.
class. It was kind of in the middle. So I know like that's always in the back of your mind, like we need money and maybe that's a trauma too. So you're always
It
like
is.
wanting more and more, but still like you created something beautiful out of it. Yeah.
I think I'm a little traumatized of not having money, always not having the money to go play sports. So I
Mm.
think that's what driven me to become an entrepreneur. But as I, learned all these different skills, I think it's an addiction. You're able to create something and bring something to life, and it's beautiful. And I've done that as a marketer for over 600 businesses. So with all that experience, I think I can do something huge for the city. And I'm trying to shoot for something big. And I think the thing, like you said, why a lot of people don't do this, and I'm starting to learn that because creating a nonprofit, helping the community. Once you create this company, it then becomes an actual organization. So nonprofits, people look bad if you take a big profit from it. And there's all these TED Talks about like how a lot of people, how that discourages people because you're building a business, but then you're giving it, and you're not actually in charge of it anymore. As it's a nonprofit. So then people look down on you for taking a big check, but it's like, hey, I started this business, I built it up and made this. I want to get my share of it. So I think that's the big reason why a lot of people don't do this kind of work. And that's why I'm actually wanting to do the 501c3, the nonprofit, because I want to show people that you can run a nonprofit and you can pay yourself good, and also you can make a change in the world, because I think that's like the most fulfilling you can be as an entrepreneur. Everybody wants to start a business so when they can give back. So I think if you just learn how to set everything up, and I think this is a beautiful way to give back to my community. So
Yeah, I was gonna ask what's like the difference between nonprofit and for profit, and like, is there a different way of creating that nonprofit or like different rules?
a profit and nonprofit is a nonprofit organization. Once it becomes a 50c3, like a charitable, you're then given, it becomes like almost like a government property, a government agency kind of. You're running it for, charity for people. So you can set up a company in different ways. I can still have a for-profit running this, but I think the nonprofit, which is really cool, our nonprofit, the good thing about making a nonprofit is we want people to come plant a family tree in the forest. So instead of planting 10,000 trees, what makes our forest different will be everyone in the family can come plant a tree.
Are there different like rules to start it, or can anyone start a nonprofit? Like, what are the regulations?
To start a nonprofit, yeah, you have to file a corporation, and then once you're a for-profit, you have to file to become a nonprofit organization, and that process takes about like 8 months sometimes. And with COVID, pushed it back a little longer. So,
Oh wow.
I had to pay this attorney lady to help me out, so it's a little more filing. So yeah, but when they do give you a nonprofit, they tell you what you can do, and pretty much a nonprofit is you don't have to pay any. I don't want to say anything wrong on here, but you don't really have paying any taxes on that and certain things. So when people are able to donate, let's say if you and your family come donate and get a tree, you can write that off as a tax write-off deductible for yourself. So that's how a lot of businesses are able to come and donate to our cause, because now we're 501c3 and they get a tax deductible, and we could get a form and send it to them.
I feel like it's a little bit more, there's a lot of
complicated
information and it's very complicated.
Yeah.
So can you give me a quick summary of how your product works and how it's created?
What a waffle is a 10 by 10 or 15 by 15 piece of land, which covered by all these transistors. We have a tree talk technology, and tree talker is a technology that was created by Riccardo Valentini, a scientist in Italy. He won the Nobel Peace Prize for climate change in 2007. So we partnered up with him. He's giving Waffle Forest a right. So we actually putting those on, and we're able to monitor the trees. So we're able to understand what's going on with the tree, from the roots down to the leaves, how much water is getting, how are the leaves, the health, everything is going. Is there a bug infestation, any diseases? And right now, with all the heat going on, there's a lot of beetles coming in. They're eating the tree. So we're able to detect all that with the tree. And so we're able to come in and plant a forest in Arizona in the desert where it's 110 degrees. So how we're able to monitor all that is by understanding how we can water everything. So we're saying, hey, this tree is not getting enough water. And at the same time, we're able to use our technology to understand how to water the tree so we can save water, because there's a big old water crisis right now. So we're able to understand how many drops of water that tree needs a day to stay alive,
Wow.
which makes it easier for us to plant 10,000 trees. So when people say, hey, you're planting 10,000 trees, they start freaking out. But, like I said, it's we're helping the environment. Planting these trees, we're removing carbon, and we're using really, tree talk technology so we can water them down to the drop, which makes it
That's
interesting.
crazy.
So that's what we're doing. That's how it works. Our product works. Right now, we're working with another company. We're trying this out. Like I said, right now, Waffle Forest, we're in our phase 1, which is our developmental phase, and we're getting our we're going to be working with the city so they can give us a pilot program so we can show them what we're doing and see if it works. So we're showing them our testing, but we're using a company called Source. They're these big solar panels. They call them hydro panels, and they pretty much take the moisture from the air, and you're able to collect water. So to drink, one of these creates like 50 gallons a month, and so we're going to get a whole bunch of them, and we're going to be able to keep our forest water by using those as well too. So we're trying to limit the use of water because when I thought about building a forest, the big backlash we had was like, hey, you guys are having a big shortage of water. How are you going to plant that? You're going to mess the environment up. So then we had to think, okay, cool. We had to get tree talker technology, and I hired a huge team to help us do it and everything. We had like over 10, 12 people working with us. Yeah. So then we've had to figure out how we can water a tree by not wasting too much water. So Waffle Forest is more like a developmental for like the first year. We just kind of figuring everything out. Then we had a 27-page summary about what we're doing. And then from there, we started, trying to get funding. Then we had to get some more the tree talker technology and test it out on the tree. So now we have all that information we're working on. We want to show them that we can actually come and build a forest that's self-sustaining. And so that's how our product works. The good thing about Waffle Forest, what makes us different from any other forest or any other, park, is that people can come and donate and plant a family tree in our forests. And so people are able to come in there, and you and your family can come and plant a waffle inside of our forest in Phoenix, and it'll be your family tree. We're working on our app that you're able to come and get the QR code and scan it, and it shows, hey, this is Mr. and Mrs. Jones' tree right here. This is, this is Mr. Lerma's tree.
That's really cool.
This is so-and-so's tree. And when you hit the QR code, it'll give you a summary about the family, and you and your family can leave photos, videos. Your mom can leave her cookbook on your guys' waffle on your tree, your family tree. So, one day when she passes or family passes, and they can leave all those on there. They can leave videos. So it's almost like your family tree. It's a tech tree online. You can go and access, but when you actually go in physically, it's a tree for your family. So every year I want to take a picture of me and my family. And as I get older, my grandchildren, I can show, every year a picture of that tree on the QR code of your family and its growth with the forest. So I think that'll really bring the community together. It'll really help make it more unique, and it brings it more to life. Makes it come to life. People, you have this feeling, you have more respect for that place, and
people get excited about seeing something that's theirs in public.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God, like that's my tree.
Yeah, you're going in there, and your family's able to go in and look at the tree, and it really helps create a new culture, a new way in Phoenix. And at the same time, we're actually healing our city right there. We're cleaning the environment, we're bringing families together, we're creating urban development, and that's something that we're doing beautiful for our city, and hopefully we can expand to other places. But that's how our product works. And
yeah,
we get into the city.
I think about maybe that you guys won't do this, but have you ever thought about using your technology and selling it to other people and so it could help them figure out how much water they need in their trees? It's like, it helps people not use so much water and like not overwater.
Yes. Well, we would like to do that. So I have two companies, Waffle Forest, and my company, Geoengineering, is the company that we actually created how everything works and puts it in. And, we'll be installing that for Waffle Forest. But yeah, eventually we like to do that for Waffle Forest or my company. But right now, just the cost is really high for each tree.
Mhm.
So we're really that's what we're trying to work on right now. We're getting more funding so we can try to see how we can lower our cost so we can
Yeah.
sell that product. But that's eventually whatever we would want people in the beginning for a forest. So you and your family can come and help, plant a tree, number one, to help, everybody has a carbon footprint every year, what you do to, have
Mhm.
create carbon. So you and your family can create a tree. And over the years, as your tree starts getting bigger, it starts removing more carbon. So that's something cool, and that's what we're really selling for our forest. How we're going to raise money for our forest is we're going to have different prices for our trees, but you and your family can come in and donate a tree. You pretty much pay a company, and we go buy it, and you can donate it and name your family tree in our forest.
That's
That's
cool.
what's making.
Where do you get the trees from? Because I know
So
they're already grown,
yeah,
right?
so our trees right now, we'll be getting them from nurseries and different
Mhm.
places. We're still working on the trees we're going to be using. There's about 6 different species we like to use. We want to kind of mix it up a bit. It's for the environment, but we're still just for the actual Waffle Forest, this Phoenix location. We still have to do a lot of testing for the ground, but we have about 5 different species we want to use, and we'll be getting these from local nurseries. Like our goal, like I said, for Waffle Forest is we're not planting from the seed down to the tree.
Mhm.
We like to install 10-foot trees, 6 to 10 foot trees already with our technology, so we can actually help it grow.
Yeah, so you're just like partnering up with
Yeah.
other people who already have the trees.
Yes.
So Dr. Valentini, he's the director of the Division of Climate Impact at the Euro-Mediterranean Center of Climate Change. That's a mouthful. He received the Nobel Peace Prize. How did you meet him, and how did you get him on your team as an advisor?
It's kind of crazy as an entrepreneur. I know I was talking to you. I was talking
Mhm.
to a couple other people about, just the big part about it, just researching, and understanding what you want to do. And we had a problem, and I'm like, hey, we got to install some kind of sensors on the tree. So I was looking for different technology everywhere, and I found Dr. Valentini. He was like on a big, he was on YouTube. He was everywhere about this technology he created. I'm
Mhm.
like, holy crap! So I'm like, let me just shoot him an email, and
It was that easy, just an email.
I
He
shot him an
seems like a
email. I
really
told,
busy guy who would
oh, he's a very busy guy.
wouldn't talk to like, someone
Yeah,
from
that's what I thought. But the big thing about as an entrepreneur, that's how sometimes it works. You're in the zone and you just send that right
Mhm.
email.
At the right time.
Waffle Forest, I feel like it's been some kind of magical. I've had like a tough life, and I feel like Waffle Forest is like a part of my life, like an art. And I'm expressing myself, and it's helping me heal myself. That's why people plant a tree, because I wanted to plant a tree so I can heal myself, so I can leave a legacy for myself.
Mhm.
And so I think I'd have all that courage, and I just was in my head, and I seen Dr. Valentini. So then I started to look everywhere I can find his email online, and I found his email. I sent it, bounced back. I found another one, and I found his company where he had the Tree Talk technology, and I emailed them, and some guy got me in touch with him, and I just told him, hey, like about myself, I'm a big fan. I'm Hispanic and trying to change the world. I'm not sure if I really know how to change the world, I told him, but I'm like, this is my goal. And I just told him about we're doing Waffle Forest. I sent him like my 27-page research paper about it, and
My
he
God.
emailed me.
Wait, let's
He's
talk
like,
about
hey,
that 27-page paper. Where
yeah.
where'd you write that? How'd you write
So
that?
I paid a team to come help me do that actually, um, and a company, and writing like what Waffle Forest is, because when you get grants and all that, you need to have they ask you so many questions. So
Is it like a
it's pretty
business
much like,
plan or is it literally like a paper?
well, it's pretty much a business plan, but it's more about like what Waffle Force is, what we do, how do we do it. And it goes in depth. We have like citations, everything. I mean, we had a team of like 70 people working on this for me. And they're like, oh my God, it's like almost like a doctoral paper. So it talks about it's pretty much like a thesis talking about like how we're gonna change how we have plans to
Mhm.
plant these trees, and there's all these different evidence of this tree, and here's all the data, and we plan to do this, but in Phoenix with all this, and it's gonna work because of all this. So we show all the different citations. So I send that to him, and I think I reached out to him first, and he emailed back, and then I sent him that. But yeah, I sent him all that, and He's like, man, you're a scientist. And I even told him, like, hey, man, I'm not very smart about this. Like, I'm an entrepreneur and I just have a big passion. And he told me that's all you really need to change the world. Yeah, it was shocking. And he's like, I'll partner with you guys. You can use my technology. You can rename it, do whatever. But I want to call it the Tree Talker. And so we're actually building it out just a little differently. And I want to launch an app and help him with his technology as well. So it's kind of crazy how I
yeah,
met
that's
him.
very inspiring to me because you don't come from a science background or any like very tech related field. So you made it happen. Like you just have to get the right people and be bold enough to email someone like that.
Yeah. And I always think about it, people talk about excuses and struggles. Like I'm a kid from South Phoenix. I'm Hispanic. I got in trouble growing up. I made it happen. I don't make excuses. And the big thing is, I think you always just have that fight with yourself on the internal battle. And, you see these videos like, hey, start a podcast, just get up and do this, and sometimes you're like, it's not that easy, but
it's not that
sometimes
easy.
it is. And I make that excuse for myself too. I'm like, Ernie, it's not that easy. I'm just not going to email him. He's going to send me a message back. And
no, it's not easy, but you should still try.
Yeah.
Because it can still happen.
And I actually talk myself out a lot of times when doing Waffle Forest. I'm like, God, people think, what do they think about me? And I have these discouraging times when I started in the beginning. We're going over like 2 years now. So we're starting to make some progress. But Dr. Valentini was just, I almost cried when he like emailed me back and he's like, hey, let's jump on a Zoom call.
I would be freaking out. I'm like, what?
He's like, let's jump on a Zoom call. And at the time I was flying to San Francisco for some work. And my buddy lives out there. So I was visiting and he's like, hey, I can message you. So he's like, I'm 9-hour difference. He's like, I'm working in Russia. I'm doing stuff for the government. So I really don't have, he was leaving there. So he left and he had time to talk to me, but he had to go back to work there. So it was like his buddy, they messaged me, hey, can you, 8 a.m. It's going to be 6 p.m. there. He has time for an hour to talk to you. He's flying back. He's got to go back to Russia. And he can't really talk. He really can't talk to nobody over there because, he does his stuff. So yeah, I got on a Zoom call with him and I recorded the whole thing. It was just amazing. Since then we started working with this team and, we built this up. And the good thing about how working with Valentini, it's really helped my company. We helped us get some steam. And as an entrepreneur or anybody listening as an entrepreneur, sometimes that's all it really takes is just to, I reach out to these people and making sure you're set up. I didn't kind of reach out to them and didn't
have
really
it all figured out. Yeah.
I had a plan, but sometimes you don't have a plan. In the beginning of Waffle Forest, there's a direct air capture. This guy was on TED Talk and I emailed him. He's like, can you send me your plans? And I'm like, oh my God, he emailed me back. I'm like, I don't have nothing about Waffle Forest. So I think that's what really forced me to go do it. And like I said, reaching out sometimes to people and, people email you back. I didn't think so. And with Waffle Forest, I got, TED Talk, I listen to TED Talk, I look at them and I email them right there and they email me back. Maybe just that good energy about changing, something in Phoenix, or I feel it's like something cool. But, Ricardo, by having him work with us, we're getting to the newspaper, people are, talking about us. We're being mentioned here in different places. And
well, that also proved that your concept is good enough because he was like really interested in it because he knows that it's going somewhere. Yeah, so that would get me motivated to keep going.
Well, the thing about our Zoom call was supposed to be like 40 minutes, but we talked for like 2.5 hours. And we were just going off about this and like, hey, can you make it for like, because he has his tree talk technology, so he can help like with grapes and vines and like all kind of plants. And we talk for hours about everything, but he loves what we're doing. And a lot of people from the Middle East, we got a donation from some places. I don't know if they want us knowing, but a couple car dealerships as well too. I think we got Toyota, they donate trees, but we had somebody reach out to us and they're like, this is what they're doing in Dubai. Like they're building forests in the middle of the desert. You're doing that here. And this is amazing because we want to, if this works, we like to take this back to our home. And
ooh, you're going worldwide.
Yeah. So the thing about Waffle Forest, it's, by partnering with people like this, and I think I can go off and go build my own tree talker technology and not have to use Dr. Valentini, but I think by using him as help with us and him advising us and like you said, just helping this thing to really trend. And it's a blessing to have that guy work with us. Because of him, I'm getting a lot more people help. But I think overall, just our story about what we're doing and, how I'm trying to make a change, I think that's what they really like a lot too. And I
Yeah.
think they can see my sincerity about wanting to do that. So
Now I want to email people. I might email
yeah,
some really big names.
yeah. I mean, you never know,
Yeah, that's awesome. Do you have like any intellectual property with your tech?
intellectual property, like
Like a patent for it where other people can't copy it?
well, I'm an entrepreneur, but this is, like I said, I'm starting a business, but it's also a nonprofit.
Hmm.
So at the same time, like I could patent it with my other company, but I think if somebody bites off of us, it really shows that we can do good. And just like there's other gym people out
Yeah, so you
there,
want like more people to do what
yeah,
you do because
yeah.
it's helping
So
the world, basically.
that's part of my mission. I'm not trying to go against other people. If someone else does it, it
Hmm.
inspires me. Like, oh my God, they're getting bigger. Let me do this. And
Yeah.
I want to start. I want to start that. But I think when people talk about creating tech companies, because I've done marketing and consulting for a lot of big companies, and I've done like the Golf Channel. I've worked in before. I've done a private military company, and I've learned that these people. That they all subcontract, and they don't all create their own technology, and
Hmm.
people white label technology and do this. So by working in marketing, I understand that I don't have to own mine. I'm just leveraging technology. We're getting things that other people have done, like Robert Valentini, and he perfected it, and we're going to go use that so we can kind of create
Hmm.
this forest quicker. So that's what I'm doing. We really don't own any intellectual property. I guess our waffle, we can actually, create something different from our waffle, but no, as of now, no. Like I said, my goal is to do this plan. We have to execute at a high level, and at the same time, make sure we can make it happen. So
Hmm.
if I go and try to invent my own tree togger technology, it would take longer. So I think it's better for me to leverage technology, not to own anything, and to get something that's been working already and putting that into play. And that's what a lot of people do. A lot of companies
That's interesting
that I
because the people that I've talked to, if they have a really good technology, like they want to own it and be like,
mhm.
no, we're the best and we don't want other people to use it. I mean, I guess for this, it's better if more people have it.
And I think the thing is like that's the hard thing as a business person you got to learn how to give. And I mean, you really learn how to give everything yourself when you create a nonprofit. Your time, your energy. You're going to give
Hmm.
your business up. It's like your baby. You're creating something and you're giving it up. That's something different when I'm doing this as well. It's like tough also as
You're
well.
giving it up, but for something better, I
Yeah.
think.
So I think that's what the whole term of me creating a nonprofit organization was, to teach myself how to give.
Mhm.
Because you have a lot of ego and people are like, no, that's my company, and they're like, well, these people are going to come in and run it now and do all this and help you out, and you're learning how to give your time, how to work with people.
Yeah. And then you also have Jeremy as the director of Waffle Forest. How'd you meet him and how did that all work out?
Well, right now Jeremy's getting another job,
Oh,
so I'm not
didn't
sure
work out.
no, so Jeremy actually went to high school with me, but yeah, he's got
But like,
another
how
job right
did
now.
you get all the other people on your team, whoever all the other people are?
Well, so I just reaching out to people, and pretty much people in the valley kind of hearing about Waffle Forest through our PR and our marketing. People want to reach out. At the time when I started Waffle Forest, I was living in Scottsdale, a really nice complex. I had a really big neighbors. One of my neighbors like a CFO of the Coyotes, and
What?
so there's like all these big people. So I met a lot of people through them, and people reached out. Like I said, networking is probably the coolest thing I've learned, and because of my level of networking, I was able to execute Waffle Forest in this level.
So it's
But
really
yeah,
getting
that's
your story out there and like speaking to as many people as you can and networking.
yeah,
And eventually, like people will find you and you'll find them.
yeah,
But if
yeah.
you like just
Because
like stay quiet, like no one's gonna know about anything.
exactly, I think I've started a couple of businesses. Like I said, I'm a marketer. I've helped so many people like build websites, local people, small
Oh yeah, you
business.
probably know a lot of people.
And the big thing is like execution. I think just getting up and doing it.
Hmm.
Waffle Forest. If I sat there and like, hey, I'm not a scientist. Like, I don't know nothing about a forest.
Yeah, I would
Um,
never even think of doing that.
yeah, I just thought about it, and I really didn't think too much of it. Like, hey, I want to build a forest. Cool, boom. And I kind of think of it as like, hey, I'm a manager. I'm just getting people that are really smart and bringing them together and technologies, and let me leverage technology things that let me go find a
Hmm.
problem, how to figure it out, and get these people in this technology to go do it for me.
So what motivates you?
Well, what motivates me is I'm obsessed with becoming an entrepreneur. Just I'm obsessed with like
Hmm.
building things and creating it, and making it come to life. I grew up in South Phoenix. I've had a decent life. I've gotten in trouble. I was never like the poorest or the richest. So, like I was like you, like we weren't rich, but we weren't struggling.
Yeah.
So I've always had like I don't know, like a tough life kind of issues
But other
and
people would
problems.
like stop there and then maybe they would go into drinking or do whatever else. But like you got out of that. Why? How did
Well,
you
I
get
think
pushed?
so what makes my motivation, what pushes me is like, just all my life, everything. I feel like my motivation for Waffle Forest is like a piece of art for me.
Mhm.
Everything I've gone through in my life in different times, and I've learned how to become a business person, how to understand certain skills, how to become a good marketer, how to make a business explode on the internet. And I think it's part of my life, my passion. I feel like I have a chip on my shoulder as an entrepreneur. Like I said, I got in trouble growing up, and I've always want to prove that I'm somebody kind of, and that's why I
So you
started
want to
Waffle
prove
Forest.
others wrong.
Yeah,
Is
so
that
Waffle Forest is more like healing myself. I mean, I think that's what motivates me because I was still insecure. I was a marketer. I was living pretty good. I'm doing pretty good. Like I was happy, but deep down, I still felt like I was missing
Mhm.
something. So I think that's what drives me is trying to fight my inner demons, and by planting a tree and leaving a legacy, it made me feel a special way. And by doing that, I can help other people come and plant their family trees. Because maybe there's my neighbor, he came from Mexico and had his whole story, and he wants to come plant his family tree and talk about his struggles and what he wanted in his life. And by him planting that tree in our forest, it's healing him and also, leaving his legacy. So I think that's what inspires me the most about Waffle Forest is that I'm healing myself, but I'm also healing other people. And I'm able to heal the city and the
Yeah.
different people around by planting their tree because everybody plants a tree for their own meaning. Um, and I wanted to start planting those trees to heal myself. So
Mhm.
that's what inspires me every day is by giving back. And by doing this, I think it's really going to help me become a well-known entrepreneur. It'll catapult my future. But at the same time, it motivates me because I'm learning how to give everything up to build this out. And
Giving feels so good and you're making the world a better place. Like there's no better feeling.
I think everyone wants to give, but I think giving is a lot harder than you think. I was watching a TED talk, and they're talking about how nonprofits, like, why would you want to go start a business up? Go create your logo, your mission, go get papers, start this big movement just to give it away. And you can't take a big paycheck. Most people who start a regular company, you can say, hey, I'm going to pay all these bills. I'm going to keep this money for myself because I started this. But a nonprofit is you can't just say, hey, I got to pay myself a salary. And some people get upset if you're paying a high salary because you're getting donations, and you're learning how to give a lot, your time, your energy. And I think this is amazing what experience I'm going through, like learning how to fully give of myself. And I thought it was going to be easier, but it's tough, but it's a journey.
But it's
But
rewarding at the end.
yeah.
So what's your biggest challenge you have right now with your business and how are you trying to overcome it?
Well, the big challenge, like anybody, is just trying to get your name out there and
Hmm.
to keep growing. And I think Waffle Forest for me right now is we're getting our funding. We got to get donations in, and we're looking to get grants. So we're at different stages. I wouldn't say problems, but I guess the problem for me is not going quick enough.
Okay.
You always want to go fast, but I think our obstacles are just navigating. Nobody's ever done this before, so it's like there's no map telling us like, hey, this is how you're going to create your forest. This is what you're going to do. I think the biggest thing is like learning. Our obstacle has been like, okay, how do we solve this problem, and then how do we plan this, and then like what's the next step. So I guess just like learning how to plan has been like the struggle for me. And now we know where we're going. I think it's just getting our word out more now. Just that's the part we're at right now. Our phase one is just
Yeah, because it's
hear
like a
about
new
Waffle Forest.
concept that people haven't heard of. And they're like, what is this? I don't really care about it. Work out how you're going to spread the word in a
Hmm.
meaningful way so
Yeah.
everyone can like be on board and plant a tree with you. So, what do you enjoy most about what you do?
That I'm able to have like a blank canvas and be an entrepreneur, like really just brainstorm and have fun. It's like art,
Hmm.
like it's my own business and we're solving a problem, and you can create however you want. I think it's not like, hey, I'm a marketer and this is how I do with your business. Like, no, I'm healing the earth, I'm cleaning the environment, I'm doing this. I get to choose what I want to do and what we're doing, and then we go figure out how to do it and figure that out. So I think that's what's fun. It's like being an artist.
I feel like it's like
Um,
Legos, like when
yeah,
we used to be little kids and play with Legos.
yeah.
It's about problem solving, but it's fun.
And I think
No,
that I think I think that's why it's so addicting, because it's fun. Like you're saying, it's like playing Legos. I feel like I'm a child doing this. And you know,
Mm-hmm.
there's nobody telling you that, oh, you can't go clean carbon. You can't do this. You know, it's like, what do I
Watch
want to
me.
do? Yeah, it's not what do I want to do? How am I going to do it? And then I go back and look for professional people to back me up to show that I can do this. And I think that's
Mm-hmm.
what's exciting about it, is like, you know, I'm beginning to see people like, well, you're building a forest. How are you gonna do that? Now I have all these people with me like, holy crap, like you're building a forest, you know? So that's what's exciting about it. It's like, you know, you can do whatever you want, how you can build it.
Maybe it's like my ego, but I love to prove people wrong. So when they're like, really, you're gonna do that? Or I don't believe you, but then you do it and you're like, ha,
Mhm.
see.
Yeah. I think that was me as an entrepreneur in the beginning, but now I know that I can do something so big. I think doing this, I think it's like mine. Like I was telling my dad the first time, he was sitting there like, you're going to build a forest in that
Yeah.
landfill. That's like, you know, I think people don't understand it. So I think this is, I'm proving myself wrong. I think that's the coolest thing about this is I'm not trying to show people like I become a business owner. I've done it. You know, I made my first 100,000, 200, 3, 4, 5. You know, I've done pretty good. And I think I've showed everybody, but this is more about my personal self and how I can prove myself wrong, like by sending an email to Ricardo and
Yeah.
him saying yes, like, you know, so I think this is for myself to
It's your
heal and our
personal growth
community.
and seeing how far you
Yeah.
can get. Knowing what you know now, what would you have done differently?
Waffle Forest the last 2 years, just the steps. I don't know if I would have done anything differently because I'm more like a pioneer.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you're trying to do something different. But the thing that I would do different, I guess, is I would make sure I'm more planned about different things. Because when you're creating things like this, you're just brainstorming everywhere, and you're like, let me take this, this, and this. But I think learning from all this, it's taught me how to be more organized when you're brainstorming. But I don't know if I'd take anything back or do anything differently, because I think sometimes you have to screw up, you have to mess this up, you know. If you
Mm-hmm.
don't mess that up, you're never going to learn. And you need to have failures to keep getting better and better, because you're building a machine at the end of the day. As an entrepreneur, as a business owner, you know, everybody builds this machine. And then what it does, it, you know, drives in clients and pushes, you know, brings you out money. It brings you money. But
Mm-hmm.
you got to make sure you have the right accounting. Hey, how do you communicate with everybody? What are your worksheets for this? You know, how are you going to reach out to people? And you know, that's a system that you're creating. So as an entrepreneur, you're just working on these different little skills. Maybe I'm really good at selling, getting sales, or getting people because I'm a marketer to come. But once they come into my page, am I really good at operations? You know, running everything and being organized. So I think, like I said, being organized is, I've always, that's like my brainstorming. It's so hard to be organized by doing
Yeah,
that.
not your
But
biggest skill being organized.
yeah,
So, what do you read or watch to stay informed or for fun?
well, I'm a big reader.
Mm-hmm.
I read a lot.
Do you
I
do
try to
like
read a book a
audiobooks
week.
or like physical books?
I do both. I actually like getting on my iPad or my app, my iPhone, and they have this feature you can scroll your 2 fingers down, and it reads for you, and it highlights it for you inside
Okay.
the phone. So then you can like speed it up. So it teaches you how to read really fast. So I read on my phone, and I watch it. So I can like, I mean,
What kind of
I
books?
just a lot of business books, motivational books, self-help, just self-growth. Tony Robbins, Awaken the Giant Within. That's one of my favorite books. That book helped my life. Like Les Brown, just relationship books. I'm always just trying to improve myself. For Waffle Forest, I think for that, I mean, we just subscribe to a lot of magazines, and you know,
Mm-hmm.
there are RSS feeds pretty much in that industry, and I just read everything that comes out about that. You know, that's how I stay informed. So I'm
Do
just
you do
obsessed with like
anything for
learning.
fun?
I like to golf. I'm a big golfer. It sounds corny, but I like business is my fun. Like building
No, that's
businesses or like
fine.
apps, working on projects. I think my thing, what I do for fun is like I help a lot of my friends and people start businesses, and you know, jump on people's courses sometimes and become like a special guest. So that's what I do for fun.
I can't
I mean,
golf.
you can't golf,
I did like top golf once. I can't do it.
really?
I never really got interested in golf. Like all of a sudden, like everybody started talking about it. I'm like, what's going on? When did everyone get into golf?
Yeah, I never knew to golf. Golfing was one of my clients as a marketer.
Mm,
And I did the golf channel, and they're like, "Do you know to golf?" I'm like, "Absolutely not." So they taught me to golf, and I had training from the best. So you know, that's what I like to do for fun. You know, I go out and have dinners with my friends and have
yeah.
drinks. I just do what everybody else does, but my fun, I'm more addicted right now to like this business. I'm
Mm-hmm.
on a mission, so
No, that could take over your whole
that's
life. Like,
it is. It
yeah.
consumes.
Okay, so what is something you want to leave the listeners with? Information about your projects, last inspirational words.
So Waffle Forest, like I said, our mission and our goal is to come in the hill, Phoenix, to come plant in a green, green space and remove carbon emissions at the same time, beautifying the city. I think everyone, visit our website, subscribe to us, to join our movement, just by subscribing and signing up.
Mm-hmm.
It really helps us. We're actually doing like a change.org online. You can go and sign up or on our website and kind of just sign our petition. But we would like you guys to, following Waffle Forest, but in general, as an entrepreneur, anybody listening, the big thing is just if you have a goal or vision, just go after it. It sounds so cliche, like Nike, just do it. But really, you never know it. I think we have all these insecurities and we're, people telling us no our whole lives. Sometimes I think overthinking will talk you out of everything. So I think don't overthink. Just like
Yeah,
I
I
said,
do that a lot.
yeah. I think just by starting a forest, like I told myself, I'm gonna start a forest. That's it. Boom. I don't want to think nothing of it. And that's it. I just put it on the universe. You have to be like a 3-year-old, or sometimes you have to, like I said, it's like a movie. You just got to act it out. Like, I'm gonna do this. Don't worry. You don't really know how you're gonna happen or it's gonna happen. But if you don't overthink and you just take a little action, you start learning more things, and everything starts coming to you. And eventually one day you're going to send an email out and it's going to be a Nobel Peace Prize scientist. It's going to change your world. So I think you just got to go out there and keep trying and shooting for the stars.
Yeah.
And, make sure you're having fun.
Okay, last question. What do you love about Arizona? What specific local business and or location?
Oh, I love, God. So I'm born and raised in Phoenix, Arizona. I go everywhere. I love Arizona. I can never leave. I've tried so many times to like move out and fly out, but I don't think I can.
Wait, have you always lived here?
Yeah.
Like your whole life?
I've always lived here my whole life. So
that's crazy.
I have people that come and move to Scottsdale and I always want to leave, but I don't know. I think Arizona is just really nice. Going to different states, Arizona's nice. And it's like, everything's new. It's not old. I love that Arizona's at the grid. Everything's so easy to find.
It's so easy.
And there's so much to do out here in Arizona. I'm a big Suns fan. So I have season tickets. I'm always going to Suns games. I think that's like one of my favorite things about Arizona is we're doing good right now. There's a lot of good food and restaurants out here too. So you can go, drive 2 hours up and be in the snow and come back, within 2 hours. So you have a little everything in Arizona. You can go to the forest, play in the snow, go in the snow. You're in the desert. I like to go with a lot of big events. Just putting myself out there and going places. And
what do you like to eat?
I'm a taco guy. I like tacos. My favorite restaurant is Toca Madera in Scottsdale.
It's like bougie, but it's pretty and has some good food.
Yeah, I live pretty close to there. I can walk and get tacos, tequila. I like the ambiance. But I just try I like the little bougie little restaurants or just the nice, cool little food. You go different places, try and do different restaurants. I go to Glendale. I go everywhere.
Right. Well, that was it. Thanks for talking to me today. I learned a lot, and please go support him because he's doing amazing things.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks for joining me for another great episode. Ernest is inspirational. He has done so much in his life, but the struggles he's faced don't stop him from achieving his goals. He has a can-do attitude and is driven to succeed. Please go support him by signing the petition linked below. And if you like this episode, please share with friends and family. And you can also connect with me on Instagram at Gen Next Door Podcast. Thanks for listening.